Derbyites, Derbyites, Derbyites. We are back once again to talk about, guess what? That's right. We're here to talk about Outlander, episode 1 of season 7, A Life Well Lost. I'm Rob Licuria. I'm here with someone you may or may not know. It's Paula Sullivan-Licuria. And we watched the premiere a while ago, but we've only just been able to sit down and talk about it because we've been so busy living our lives as parents and, all the other stuff. That's boring. Let's talk about it. I don't really know where to begin, but I want to say something before you speak, if you don't.
Mm-hmm. By all means.
Do you know that, sorry, I'm just trying to pick it up on my screen. Yeah. It's been a staggering 412 days.
It has not.
Since season 6 ended.
400 plus days.
412 days. And you know what? That's not even the longest Droughtlander, because the longest one was the one before. Can you guess how many days that was?
Well, it's obviously got to be more than 412. I'm going to go 600 and something.
Keep going.
No, not 700.
No. 600 and just come up with a number.
25.
656 days. That was the last drought. That was
wow.
That was the worst Droughtlander, and I think that was COVID affected. But we are now back in a new season of Outlander. And you know what my first reactions were?
What?
Have they picked up the budget and the pace and the quality? Because that episode was insane. It was so good.
You reckon?
Yes. It was very, very well done. Very well written, polished. I mean, obviously they've been doing this for years now. They know what they're doing, right?
They've got the groove happening.
I was so invested. Like, I felt like we had just seen Claire whisked off to be wrongly convicted of murder Malva, and Sam Hewen Jamie had the big battle on the beach, and he rode off into the sunset to go and find his wife. I felt like that was yesterday, and here we are again.
Really?
Yeah. Why don't you tell me what your first reactions were to just when the episode started and you're like, oh God, okay, here we go. What were you thinking?
Okay. So my first thought was, I hope I remember what happened at the end of the last season. Like, the way I like to watch my shows.
What do you make up in your head?
Oh, it's habit. I'm always fiddling with something. I like to go into my new seasons completely fresh. I like to be swept away by the storyline. So I don't go back and reread what happened in the previous season. Sure, I will catch up on the book if I have time. I do have the book that this season again is based on. But I sort of walked into it and I'm like, what are we doing? Where are we going? What's the theme song going to sound like? And what's happening? Like, I like to come in and I just like to be immersed and have it wash over me. I don't know. It's just this sense of I like to experience every episode 1 of every season.
You may recall that Stars did the fans a great service by providing us all with a beautiful Valentine's Day gift on 14th of February when they released the opening credits, or a part of it at least, because they wanted to promote that the amazing Irish songstress and songwriter Sinead O'Connor would be singing the Skyboat song, and she don't disappoint.
No,
she's good. I was pretty impressed, and I loved how they put in new images. Now we're moved on in the story.
Yes. Like, I mean, for us Aussies, the bit that I quite liked was, like, okay, being Aussie, we don't know a lot about American history, but I liked seeing that first American flag with so few stars in the corner. I thought that was really nice. And like, you're right, we've still got some old images. We've got Claire running through that field of mud, and then we've got it first with all these new shots, and there's always a really beautiful horse riding scene at the very end where it goes boom, boom, boom. So that was really nice, and the opening credits also show what's going to happen in this season. We saw a few shots of this special sapphire in the palm of someone's hand. So I hope we get to that. It's teased, but I hope we get to that this season.
I'm sure we will. I mean, this is going to be a supersized season, by the way, of 16 episodes. So
amazing.
They had to make up for the truncated seasons that they had to have post-COVID. So we're really getting, it's just a delicious feast of Outlander now for the next few months. And they started in production in summer, northern hemisphere summer of 2022. This has been worked on for some time, and this is obviously based on the 7th book in Diana Gabaldon's series of novels, Echo in the Bone. Obviously, I haven't read it. I'm coming from the non-reader perspective. You're coming from the reader's perspective. And I know it's been a while, but that's okay. Well, let's just go through some of the things about this episode that we loved, or maybe we didn't love the most, but I don't really have much negative to talk about. I want to start off with this.
What?
The core 4 characters are special. Sam Hewitt, Katrina Balfe, Rick Rankin, and Sophie Skelton. They do a beautiful job of portraying those characters, and they will forever, in my mind, always be connected to those characters. But do you know who was the MVP of this episode for me?
I know for me, I don't know if it's the same.
Who was it for you?
The gentleman that played Tom Christie.
Mark Lewis Jones.
Yeah. I actually had a tear. I had a little tear right here.
Yeah, I don't really cry that often, as you know all too well. Probably because I'm dead inside and all that. But besides that, let's just brush that away. I love that guy. He's such a good actor. Sometimes I hate Tom Christie. Sometimes I like him. He's a curmudgeon. He's a little bit of an asshole. He professes.
But that means he's doing a good job.
Oh, if the Emmys actually had a clue, he would have already taken home an Emmy by now for guest actor in a drama series.
100%.
It really pisses me off. And I know there's some people who are watching this, I hope, that we are friends with on Twitter and whatever, particularly Stacey Henry, who is now writing for Gold Derby. I'm so proud of her. This should be an Emmy juggernaut. But we don't need the Emmys to tell us what a good show is, okay? We don't. We know that it's a good show.
We do.
I'm curious, why in the pre-credits teaser, why did we have this sequence of Claire being hanged? I was confused. Was that just a vision?
Okay. It took me a while as well, because I'm like, hang on a second. We saw her go into the jail. I'm like, how did we miss something? Where is Jamie? Why is Tom Christie in the crowd smiling? I thought he'd forgiven Claire. Like, what? I had no idea. And then we then shoot to Jamie with his eyes closed, and he's talking.
So he's dreaming.
So I think in that moment, Jamie was imagining, he was doing a very typical human thing. He was imagining the worst. He was preparing himself. What's the worst thing that he could do when he found Claire? Or what's the worst thing he could see when he next sees Claire? It would be that. Her hanging from a noose.
Yeah.
And because you've got to hear his monologue. I know you're alive, because if you were dead, I'd feel it. I'd feel it in my bones, I think he said.
It's an echo.
So she is an echo in his bones.
Yeah, we could take it in a whole other direction, but we won't be rude.
I think we would go there.
I'm a pig. Anyway, that really took me back. And then
it sucked you in.
It really did. Like, it was the perfect way to open the show.
100%.
Then we had Sinead O'Connor show. Then we were in the jail, and I loved the design of the jail. I felt like from a creative arts perspective, production design, costume design, great. Cinematography, 10 out of 10. The score, phenomenal. I actually missed whether Ben McCreary is still scoring the show. I don't see why he isn't. I just missed the credits. Please, someone regale me.
No, he is. I read it.
Okay,
I
good.
actually noticed he's still doing it.
Ben McCreary, like, you know how I've got this obsession with composers, right? I love him. I interviewed him not long ago for the Lord of the Rings show, and I'm just talking to him about the show, and I was like, I want to like ambush this whole interview and just talk about his work on Outlander. Emmy nominated work on Outlander, BT dubs, and he is phenomenal. His music in this show is just, there's no comparison. It's beautiful.
No.
So I love the scene in the jail when Sadie Ferguson is insistent on Mrs. Tolliver getting the gin. I felt a real connection to her on that. I was like, yes, girl, yes, get the gin. That's what I would be wanting. I'd be wanting gin constantly.
Alcohol.
Of course, like, it's I feel your pain, Sadie, and she was such a good character. She ended up saying to the soldiers, "Oh, I'm the murderess," so that Claire could get whisked away to the ship, to the HMS Cruiser. Yeah, and I really liked that. So, what were you thinking when she ended up on the ship? Because obviously I have no idea what's really going to happen, and I just figured, is this going to be a way for her to escape and have Jamie reunite with her? And I was expecting this to take episodes to get to it, and we got to the reunification pretty quickly.
Pretty quick. I was really happy about that. But from a reader's perspective, and if anyone wants to enlighten me, please drop it in the comments. Please understand, I read this book 7 years ago. I read this in between ending season 1 and the beginning of season 2. I smashed all of those books in that Droughtlander back then. So I have not picked up the book because, like I said earlier, I wanted to be whisked away with this story. As much as I like to sit there and go, oh, that's not in the book, or that's not different, or they missed that, or oh, that's good. I sometimes first want to get that wash. So I was just enjoying the ride, to be honest with you. I was like, where is she going? And I'm like, oh my God, she's on another ship. Where are they taking her now? Is Jamie going to get there fast enough to find her? And so I was really quite apprehensive at that particular time. And then, Claire and her cheeky handwriting, give this to Mr. Christie. And he picked up, she had some code in this letter. He knew she didn't need all these bits and pieces. She wanted Jamie. So I really enjoyed that little sequence. And then Jamie comes on the boat and does his thing and everything like that. So no, I just really enjoyed being whisked away with the story.
I just realized that we have both used the word whisked 4 times during this chat. I just wanted to put that out there.
Why are you keeping score?
I don't know. I have mental problems. There's this one moment when Jamie and Ian end up at the jail to see where Claire is, and Sadie, my bestie, the absolute restie who wants the gin, says, "You all look the same to me." And then the next shot is Ian looking like, and then Jamie looking at him with a little inflection, and then he's back at Sadie. And it was so quick and nuanced, but I laughed. I was like, oh my God, that is so funny. Because they don't look anything alike. He's got dots on his face and he's got plaits, and Jamie looks completely different. But for Sadie, because she's so pickled, they all look the same to her. I love that little moment. I love these little moments that they pepper in just for that little season. That's what you get in a 7th season, when you know the characters so well.
Yeah.
You can live with them and understand what's going on here.
Yeah. That was good. I did like that. That was funny.
Are
we going to move to Tom Christie on the boat, or what?
Before we move on to Tom Christie, when Rick Rankin's character, why am I blanking on his name? Roger. When Roger says float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and then that rando Native American says,
that was another sprinkling of
he says,
humor.
I'm like, what is happening? And then he announces that he is Wendigo Donna. That encounter gave me chills. And I turned to you, I'm like, who the hell is Wendigo Donna? Who's Wendigo Donna? I'm like, is it Donna with an A at the end? And you're like, no, it's Donna, but because of our accent, sounds like Donna. Please explain.
Well, this is the man who Claire has been trying to find or chase from last season. And I wanted to kill you because you were making me explain Wendigo's story while Wendigo's explaining it to Roger. Like, if you just listen, you would have known the answer. But I had a little fangirl moment at that point, and I was like, yeah, we're getting the story, you know. We finally hear that Wendigo and his friends, they all want to travel back in time and free the Native Americans and all that, and they all got split up. And that's what I had to remind you, that one of Wendigo's friends was Ottertooth, who was the skull and the ghost that was haunting Claire. Oh, I forget at what point in season 6. But Ottertooth was a friend of Wendigo Donna, and they got all lost when they went through their version of the stones, I think. Well, they went through their little portal. And so obviously Wendigo Donna is shackled up with all these thieves to be conscripted into the army because he stole a gem, because he just wants to get back to whatever time he came from. Mm-hmm. So I liked that little story. But while we're on the subject of Roger and Wendigo, did you like how Sophie Skelton's character was like, you're gonna be like, I don't like him. He did nothing from Claire when she was being attacked and everything like that. And then Roger had his piece to Brianna, and I was like, wow, I think this conversation actually happened in the last book. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I really felt that for a moment with those two characters, when he's recounting the story of what happened on Bonnet's boat, which you actually didn't see in the series, but you actually read it in the book as he traveled to America. And for a moment in that, it felt like the world stopped for those two characters while they were having this conversation. You didn't see much happening behind either of them. I think there was maybe one extra that was behind Sophie Skelton in that scene, but it felt like time stopped while he was recounting this horrible moment where you actually felt frozen in that moment, where he felt frozen in his moment on Bonnet's boat. So I really liked that scene. As hard it was to hear, I thought it was really touching.
That scene was probably my top 5 scenes of the whole episode, because the writing is, number one, the writing so strong. Yep. Number 2, Rick Rankin, particularly Rick Rankin, and you know how much I love Rick Rankin and Sophie Skelton, but he really sold it with his performance. Yep. Number 3, this is an element that some people perhaps maybe don't realize, the editing, because the way it was paced and the way the editor lingers on certain phases in certain moments with inflections and cadence and tone. Yep. I felt transported. I wasn't even watching him anymore. I was on the ship.
The boat.
I was watching him watch this woman and a child overboard in the freezing cold water, and him struggling with the notion of, what am I supposed to do? Of course, if it was me, I'd want to help these poor people in the water. But my priority is, if I know that I've got my wife and children or whatever it is somewhere else, nothing else matters. I don't care who you are. I have to be strong and disciplined and just block it out. And that's horrible. That's a horrible Sophie's choice.
Yeah,
That
it is.
so good, so strong. Like, this is what I mean. This episode highlights that maybe I've forgotten that the show is capable of doing, because it's been so bloody long, but this show really those emotional notes so perfectly.
It does. But the thing about all those emotional notes is you don't know they're happening until the scene ends.
Yeah.
And you go, holy shit, what did I just watch? What just happened here? And then it's not until later that you yourself process it and you go, oh shit, that's right. And I'm glad you said that, because in the book, that's you obviously, as the book reader, you imagine the pictures happening the way the way they're written on the page. And the way Rick Rankin did that scene is exactly I had those same images came back from when I read the book. So beautiful work on that scene, to Rick, to the director, to the editor. And then, speaking of inflections on faces, did you see how Brianna's face slowly changed through that whole thing? It started off as anger, and then she sort of went to sadness, and then sort of almost slight compassion, but then also guilt, because she could understand. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I got from Sophie's face.
The beauty of real life and emotional moments are that nothing is black and white. And even she's still annoyed with him, but you could see deep down that she totally understood where he was coming from.
She
empathized with him, but she was, of course, holding that back a little bit because she's still so hurt about her mum. So that relationship is going to continue developing over the season, and I'm all for it. I'm down. I'm ready. Give me more. Tom Christie on the boat, he then basically says, he loves Claire and he wants to save her. And I mean, I did not see that coming at all. And then Claire and Jamie are reunited, and it looks like this Malva storyline, they might be able to put it behind. I have no idea, but that's where I assume the season is headed.
I hope so. Like I said, I've not read the book because I like to be carried away. But the scene in the surgeon's quarters on the boat, I'd forgotten about that in the book. I kind of had a hunch it was coming. I vaguely remember something like that. But again, like the Roger scene, the way it was delivered and edited, I mean, if there was music in those scenes, I didn't notice because I was just so taken with everything else that was happening on the screen. So if there was music, great job. But I think the line, and I know I'm going to say it wrong because we watched this a while ago, but he said something along the lines of, all I've ever wanted out of life was to, and this is going to sound like a slightly Disney quote as well, all I've ever wanted out of life was to have love and be loved in return, or be worthy of that love. And I was like, oh, that is so
pretty
nice.
deep. It's pretty deep.
That's very deep. For someone like Tom Christie to all of a sudden open up and say these things to this woman who he sort of openly really didn't like on and off. So I don't know, it was kind of nice to see them have that heart to heart, and I don't know, for want of a better word, reconnect and just sort of forgive each other.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so let's just do final thoughts, because I wanted to raise that we won't be doing these recaps every week. It's just sometimes it's a little too hard with all the other stuff going on in our lives, but we will certainly come back a few more times during the season if we can. We'll bring on special guests. We'll probably do them a little bit after the episodes have aired, so we can bring on guests who don't have the luxury of screeners like you and I have. And then, we might even do a slugfest or two with some of the fans that we love from Twitter and so forth. We'll see what happens.
And we could do a couple of episodes in a video instead of just
we'll do
one.
something like that. So just so everyone's aware that what I'm really excited about is we're going to see a lot of old and new faces joining the cast again, or coming back to reprise their roles. People like Breon Fraser and Rob Cameron and Buck McKenzie and Mercy Woodcock, their new characters and people coming back. Graham McTavish is coming back as Dougal McKenzie. We've got Jenny Murray, Joan McAmey, Gaelis is coming back, Lottie Verbeek. That's exciting. Benedict
That's going to be cool.
How do you say, is it Lowry? Leary, she's coming back. And then last but certainly not least, one of the most amazing actors on the show that we love, Stephen Creed, is coming back as old Ian Murray. Stephen Creed with one of the best hairstyles that you've ever seen on a man. I'm so looking forward to seeing him. He's such a good guy.
No, I'm waiting for Jenny. I want Jenny.
I know. There's so much to look forward to. Like, I'm really invested this time. Not that I've never been before, but I watch so much TV. You do as well. But in the Gold Derby space, like, I'm exhausted. I have to watch so much stuff. Oh, poor me, first world problems. But I'm just saying, like, I watch a lot of stuff, and some of the stuff that I watch is really shit. Okay, it's just boring, and I still have to write about it. But a lot of it is great, and this is one of the good ones. Like, it really is such a pleasure to talk about, and we have so much to look forward to. So I implore anyone watching this who loves the show and really enjoys our coverage at Gold Derby, please let us know what you would like us to cover. If you'd like to join us, if you want to send us questions, if you want us to, I don't know, I'll tap dance, whatever you want. Just let us know.
No, not that.
I can tap dance. You know that I actually can.
I know, but do we want to see it though?
We want to see it to the Skyboat song. Like, I will kill it. Or like we could do the dance of the Seven Veils, whatever you want.
No, God, people don't need to see that.
True, it's pretty hot.
But what I want is, since we're not going to do every episode, so if people let's say we don't do episode 2, let's say we do our video around episode 4. If there is something that happens in episodes 2 and 3, please put it at the bottom of this video if you want us to talk about it, and we'll hopefully get to it. And we'll give our thoughts about that particular scene or moment or whatever it is, or character, whatever. But put it in the bottom of this video. We want to come back to it.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. In the meantime, everybody have a great next few weeks. We will see you soon. Stick with Gold Derby. There's no better place than Gold Derby, not only for Outlander content, but all the best content about your favorite award shows. Make your predictions in the Emmy Prediction Center. We can do that until mid-July. Then the Emmy nominations will come out. There won't be any Outlander. Outlander hasn't aired during the eligibility period, but that's okay. You could follow your other shows. And you know what? If you feel like you want to watch Stephen Bonnet and you miss him, you could watch Ed Spilliers on Star Trek Picard if you want. There's so much more to talk about, but we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.